Hello, Aries, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of August 31st through September 6th. I can't believe it's September already. During that time, we will have a first quarter moon and also move into the waxing gibbous energy. So first quarter can be a little bit it reminds me of the full moon energy. It's a little bit, you can be impulsive, impatient, a little bit active. So just make sure you're, relaxing through that and maybe meditating a little bit or use that energy, if you enjoy that energy. Some of us do. I do. Anyway, just to remind you there. And then we do move into the waxing gibbous, and it's a little calmer, a good time to just have a deeper understanding and outlook on things. Um, it's a time when we're acting on those things that we've just started during the new moon, but you can make adjustments. You can be a little bit more flexible, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So keep those moon energies in mind as we move through the week. Also, I would like to say, Aries, that since my readings are free to you, all that I ask in return is that you hit the subscribe button. It really helps my channel. It's super easy for you to do, so I will give you a moment to do that right now. Thank you so much. And if you've been a subscriber, thank you so much for coming back and helping me build a community here. I really do appreciate you. All right, this will be an intuitive general reading for the energies that you may or may not encounter, Aries. So, as always, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't for someone else. And your overall message for this reading: you and your loved ones are safe. All right. I didn't want to put the bright light on today. It's just my mood, so it's a little bit darker. If you want to leave a comment, if you're having trouble seeing the reading, or I feel like I can see the cards, but it's hard to tell sometimes if you guys can. But drop me a comment. Let me know if that lighting is okay for you. If it isn't, I will not do that, and I will turn on this other light that I have. So, all right. While I'm shuffling, my weekly reminder this week, Aries, is that you keep a spiritual journal. Sometimes we don't recognize the patterns as we're going through our different awakening phases, and the way our life is evolving and what we're learning. So, when it comes to the spiritual experiences, it's always really good to have that journal so that you can look back and think, oh, I learned that thing 5 years ago and I've applied it. And here's how that change has helped me. Or I learned this thing and I forgot to apply it. This is something that I do all the time. So there's just so many things to learn. And sometimes we relearn and we learn to make those adjustments. So it is a good week for adjustments, but keeping a spiritual journal is a really good way to just kind of track where you've been, where you're going. So that is just my fun weekly reminder. All right, without further ado, I know I'm babbling on here, Aries. Oh, we've got cards coming out. So we will take this card, your present energy right now, Knight of Pentacles. So looks like you're taking some sort of action in the material realm, Aries. That doesn't surprise me. It's very common for an Aries to be taking that sort of action, right? So this is something probably job related. This could also be, just something related to your own personal finances, or, maybe you're moving, you're doing something in the material world. You could be doing an improvement on your home, but there's something about the material world this week where you are definitely taking some action. Your current situation is the Hierophant. So you may be seeking guidance about that action. You may be seeking spiritual guidance. That could be why you're at a tarot reading right now. You may have decided to go to church services this week if it's not something you normally do, or, contact someone that's a little more traditional than you to get some sort of advice there. So you're definitely seeking some sort of guidance. The Hierophant is when you're just seeking something more than yourself. You could be praying a little bit. It could just be God that you're seeking that guidance from, but it could also be, a person or something a little bit more traditional, ritualistic, like again, a church service, something like that, but some sort of, um, you're seeking out guidance, and it could be because of some change in your material realm. And maybe you're just, looking for the right answers, hoping that the universe will provide. It usually does, right? Actually, it always does. At the root of your situation is, yeah, maybe you're thinking this is the 10 of Pentacles. So maybe you are really trying to take action to do things that are more about longevity. What can you do to attain this 10 of Pentacles energy, which is really about, generational wealth and security. And even though this is a pentacle, this is also, I will say that it doesn't always have to do with money. I mean, we are passing things on generationally that have nothing to do with money or material things. You know, we're passing on ideals and morality and those sorts of gifts and things that you instill into your kids, and hopefully they're going to turn around and instill those into your grandkids. So, you know, those are really good things to be thinking about, and that seems to be what's on your mind, is not only the material world but also the deeper spiritual world. You know, what spiritual gifts are you, you know, laying out for your family and for those that come after, generations after you. In your recent past here would be the Three of Swords. So maybe this is some sort of disappointment or a broken heart. You know, this is, you know, definitely a card of sorrow and pain and hurt, but many times when we go through something like that, something good comes out of it, because it makes you stop and realize what's really important. And if you are thinking I don't know why I can't say that word today. If you are thinking generationally, you know, you're thinking about things much further down the line than yourself. And sometimes that's why we go through these heartbreaks and these heartaches and these hard things. These are hard things that we have to go through to learn the lesson, so that we then turn our life around and change it for those after us. So what is on your mind this week, Aries, is the Page of Pentacles. So this is just a new path. So, you know, this could be, like I said, a new path for you in the way of a new job. I don't know why this card doesn't want to go in there. There we go. You know, this could be a new path for you in the way of a new job, in the way of new money that's coming in, a new way for you to make money. It could be a side hustle that you're doing that's bringing some sort of something in, but it's come out of you not being happy about something in your past, that you are definitely making some sort of change in the material world. So keep that in mind. This is a new path for you. So you have lots to learn, lots to study, you know, and to get to this 10 of Pentacles, right? Look at this whole lineup of Pentacles here. Um, you know, which is about, again, action, but a new path, but also longevity. It's almost like you're covering every single base there. What is just ahead of you this week is the Ace of Cups. So it's something that you are really going to love. Something new comes into you, you know, into your realm, which again could be material. It could be a house that you love. It could be an apartment that you find that you love. It could be a sofa that I mean, it could be something so simple, but it could also be something even more extreme. Like, you know, this card came up for me when a new grandchild came into my life, and I was like, oh, okay, that is something that I completely love. My heart completely is just completely overjoyed to spend time with this little guy. So you know, again, it could be something very simple, but also something way more profound. So, something new for you this week that you're just going to love. You're going to love it, which is awesome. In your advice position is the King of Cups. So, you know, this is you having an outpouring, but also knowledge of, you know, emotions. And, you know, this is you just being you and looking, you know, I always say about the royalty that it's not just that you have a good understanding of your emotional awareness, but also the people around you and your kingdom, right? So this is you being intuitive, being very, you know, straightforward, but very experienced and friendly and insightful, those sorts of things. You know, and just really, really in touch, but you know, calming. You know, people feel calmed by your um you know, by your wisdom and the things that you know, but you can also understand the emotions of people around you and kind of you just put everyone at ease. So that's your advice this week. And again, your overall message card is you and your loved ones are safe. So if something is coming in for you, you know, that does seem a little bit heartbreaking or whatever, I feel like you're really in control of, again, not only you but your family and people around you, to really, you know, to be a rock for them this week. So go ahead and be that. What is beyond your control this week is, yeah, feeling a little bit stuck here with the Eight of Swords. So, you know, this is not being stuck, it's feeling stuck, but it's really the advice is to think your way out of it. So whatever this is that's maybe on your mind, or this thing that your family is going through, you're just going to have to think your way out of it. It may take the pentacles, it may take money, right, to, excuse me, think and act your way out of it, and just do the things that need to be done. It's beyond your control, that you're going to have the ability to do that this week. What is your secret desire, or what you're trying to avoid, is the Knight of Swords. So it looks like your secret desire is to get through whatever this is, whatever this difficulty is. And I almost feel like, for some of you, it's like your housing situation is, maybe your rent got doubled and you have to quickly come up with a way to move into a new place, but you're going to love the new place and you're almost going to be happy that this thing happened. I'm using that as an example, but, sometimes it's hard when we're going through something difficult to see, the new path that it sends you on. And maybe you've had this dream at your base of, long-term generational wealth and well-being, and it wasn't going to happen without this catalyst, this bad thing that kind of pushes you in a new direction. So whatever this new direction is, you do love it. So you need to ask yourself, is that your secret desire? Is that you move forward quickly and, take that sword and get things done, and whatever, whatever ways, again, you're going to have to think, you're going to have to be emotionally balanced, but I do feel like you're going to love the new place that you end up in. Or are you trying to avoid doing this? Are you kind of stuck in this mode? And how did I get here? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Instead of taking action, that'll be your big question this week. But it's there, you have the choice there to do either to take action or not. That's your big question of the week. Let me grab a drink here real quick, as my throat is getting a little a little scratchy. In your outcome, Aries, the Tower. Okay, so it seems like, this is a disruption. And, I was feeling that over here. It's a disruption, but I feel like it pushes you into something that, again, that is, here's the way I'm going to put this. When they talk about manifesting and they say, careful what you ask for, because you just might get it, right? And we have to be very careful when we ask for things, but sometimes things come in the form of disruption, and because it's moving you towards a better place. And I just feel like that's what's happening with you this week, is there is some sort of disruption. It's going to go on through the week, but it's moving you into a better place. You're seeking out guidance. You're going to love, the future you is going to look back and say, well, thank God that happened, because I love where I am right now. And you're going to be in a very emotionally balanced place. Again, your big question this week is, you're going to take quick action to get yourself unstuck, because the Tower is inevitable. It's a disruption, and it's a disruption from the past, but it's almost like it's ongoing this week. It is inevitable. It's how you're going to treat this situation, that either you're going to get stuck and take no action, or you're going to say, okay, I have to think my way out of this and I'm going to take action. That's really going to be up to you. And that's your big question of the week. What is hidden from you this week? Yeah, I bet. Temperance. So temperance is, balance, inspiration. This is, feeling very centered. This is being fulfilled. This is feeling like you've accomplished something, and that's hidden from you this week. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes up next week for you, or even the week after that. I don't even know if this is going to be concluded this week. This feels like kind of an ongoing thing for you, but I also do feel like it's something that you were manifesting. It's something that you've wanted, and again, it's a disruption, but you're going to get to a place in the end where you're just glad that it happened. All right, let's get a final message here from the Soul Oracle deck. Final message for Aries, August 31st through September 6th. I will get my tongue working today, I swear. Final message: retreat. Okay, so maybe some of this is about retreating. Maybe you have to just kind of let the dust settle. That could be it too. And again, that's going to be your choice. And some of you may choose differently. Some of you may choose not to retreat and get stuck in this, and that's fine. I think it's also going to work its way out. Some of you will choose the action route, and that's fine also. I think you're going to end up at the same place, which is a place that you like. Let's see what you need to be doing in the way of self-care. Self-care for Aries this week as they go through this disruption in their life. And the card that comes up for you is abundance. If you can see that with these dark lights. Being a thoughtful steward for the money you already have is the secret to creating more abundance. Interesting. So being a thoughtful steward, all I can think about is this card also that we've been talking about. So when you trust yourself to handle more, that's when more shows up. And that's exactly what I'm talking about, that I feel like this is something that you've manifested. It's a disruption. And I'm almost, when anytime I get this "you and your loved ones are safe" card, uh sometimes that makes me think that, whoops, that something has happened. And I mean something more in the, I don't want to say catastrophic realm, but yeah, but that's what I mean. That sometimes I see that card come through when there's like a big weather thing that's moving through our country, hurricane, that sort of thing. And I'm not saying that that's it could be something that happens for some of you. That's something kind of out of your control, maybe weather related or something, or a fire. But everybody's safe. But it does make you have to take action. But it's something about managing what you have right now in order to create more. So again, you're either going to feel stuck and you're going to kind of let this thing go on and maybe not take any action this week. Some of you will absolutely jump right in and take action, like that Knight of Swords, and just like you can't sit still. So either is fine, whether you retreat or whether you take action. You can do either of those things, and I think you're going to get eventually to this happier place. So Aries, I wish you the best of luck with all of this, whatever's going on for you this week. If you're comfortable sharing, drop me a message down below. I love to hear your comments and see how these readings are, getting to you. You may email me also. I do get emails occasionally too when people tell me what's going on, if you don't want to share in the comments. So, but I do appreciate your time here with me today. And again, I hope there's something that you can use. If you like my reading style, of course, again, please like and subscribe. It really helps my channel and pushes me out in the algorithm. But most importantly, Aries, it'll help you find me next week so we can see where this story goes. So good luck with you, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.